Welcome back to another video on my channel. In today's video, I'll be giving you my ranking of the Fear Street Trilogy movies, and they are Part 1, 1924, Part 2, 1978, and Part 3, 1666. But, in terms of this ranking, Part 3, 1666 will be split into two. And this is because the first half of the film takes place in 1666, and the second half of the film takes place in 1994, and is a continuation on from Part 1, 1994, as there is a complete contrast between season... And as there is a complete contrast between season 1666 in Part 3 and 1994 in Part 3, they will be considered as two different entries on this ranking. Now that that's out the way, let's get on with the ranking. 4. 1666 Part 3. I watched all three of the films in the Fear Street Trilogy 3 weekends back to back when they first came out back in 2021. But back then I didn't know how to rank them. And after I rewatched each film twice, I knew how I was going to rank them. And sadly, the 1666 segment in Part 3 was the weakest and the worst segment in the Fear Street Trilogy. It wasn't bad, however for me it was subpar. The 1666 accents from all the characters weren't great. And the whole origin of Sarah Fear was worse than I thought it would be. So, unfortunately, it finishes 4th. 3rd, 1994 Part 1. This film is one of the single most gruesome deaths in Kate, who had her head shoved through an industrial bedside and completely annihilated. The conflict between Sarah and Dina at the start was a bit annoying, however their love story across the film was amazing. The first look at the different Shadyside killers was amazing, and all the deaths, including Kate's death, were super bloody and gory, with amazing special effects. The opening scene was an homage to one of the most iconic horror movie openings ever, with it being the opening scene from 1996's Scream, directed by Wes Craven. Rest in peace. And the setup between the two were pretty much identical, involving a famous actor from my famous acting family in Scream, Drew Barrymore, and in Fear Street Part 1, 1994, Mike Hawk. So that was a great. And other than that, the contrast between Shadyside, the killer capital of the world, and Sunnyvale, the perfect place ever in the world, was really good. Overall, Part 1, 1994 is a fun time, but is not as good as the top two. So it finishes in 3rd. 2nd. Part 1994 Part 3. This segment of Part 3 was much more better than compared to the 1666 segment, and that was because there was no more dodgy 1666 accents, and it was more watchable than 1666. With us knowing that Nick Good is the bad guy, unlike 1666 where we weren't sure who the bad guy was, so it was more ambiguous, and I didn't like that. The final battle at Shadyside Mall between Nick Good and Dina, Josh, Marty and Ziggy was intense, but fun. Don't get me started on the cliffhanger at the end, as it gets me so excited to see what happens next after the Fear Street Trilogy, with a possible Part 4, 1994. With a possible Part 4. 1994 in Part 3, which is called 1994 Part 2, is really amazing, and I loved it. But, unfortunately, it falls just short of 1st, 1978 Part 2. This is everything you want from a horror movie set at a summer camp. Part 2, 1978 is pretty much flawless. A great and fun to watch antagonist in Tommy Slater, Camp Nightwing Killer, the Camp Nightwing Killer, an homage to Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th franchise, which was great. The kills were brutal and fantastic. The characters like Ziggy, played by Stranger Things' Sadie Sink, Cindy, Alice, Tommy mentioned earlier, Gary, Joe, Nick, and even Kurt were fun to watch. The story was decent, and best part for me was the character depth we got from Nick Good and the character growth we got from Ziggy and Cindy, and the romantic relationship between Ziggy and Nick Good, and especially the twist at the end of the film. It is for these reasons that makes Part 2, 1978 my favourite segment and film from the Fear Street Trilogy. But thank you for watching this video, thank you for watching the video. And next time we will be ranking deaths from Pretty Little Liars. But until then, subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to catch up with to know when a video is uploaded to my channel. And for now, this has been Jonah O'Brien. Peace.